Yo, what is up everyone? Tachi here. So today we are going to be talking about the upcoming reality banner. It is going to be Minstrel, which is the Little Mermaid alternative. Now, when it comes to the actual stats that come with this job, they're pretty much the same as every other reality skin. They just are like all over the place with primarily HP for the level ups. So I mean, it's not exactly something that you would necessarily want to pull for any specific like class or a role other than DPS, which obviously would want it for the HP. Now, that being said, just because it has HP doesn't necessarily mean it's a good idea to pull it now. And that mostly just comes down to the fact that we are going to be having the spec banner coming up in probably a day or two. So it's probably better off to wait for that, in my personal opinion, than pull on this. Unless, of course, granted, if you are a whale and you're going to pull on both, then I mean, obviously you do you, right? But if you are not a whale, if you are a casual spender, or even like me, if you are a dolphin, I do consider myself a dolphin. If you are a dolphin and you don't pull on every single banner, MLB, everything, it's not really efficient in terms of like money wise. And obviously free to play, like, just don't even bother. Now, we are going to get into the actual weapons. Maybe that might swing your personal opinions, but we'll take a look at that first. The first weapon we are going to look at is going to be the actual harp that comes with this, the instrument. But yeah, physical magical attack to one ally with replenish magic 1. No. Just no. That in my personal opinion is a really bad weapon. That is a really bad weapon. I think, you know what, this might be okay. Not good. Like, it could be maybe like a 4 or 5 out of 10. Only if you have a whale DPS that is running solid DC grid. That's it. And the only reason why that's somewhat feasible against them is because when they're running solid DC, they do still need both stacks of attack. And if your minstrels are not that strong, they're probably gonna have trouble giving them both stats. You know what I mean? Like, even for example, even when I was running solid DC to try it out, just like primarily, I was still just getting magic attack buffs. So that just comes down to your minstrels prioritizing giving the physical attack buffs to the actual physical DPS, as opposed to you, who is just a salad. But it is what it is. Now we are going to move on to the next weapon, which is going to be the spear. Now, this is a DC2 spear with mediocre magic attack, 17 cost, obviously. Personally, I would not pull on this if you are a magic DPS, and I'm going to explain why. While yes, this weapon is DC2 and it does have okay magic attack, I think typical is probably more like 22, 23. Well, maybe not 23. 23 is actually on the high side, but it's pretty mediocre in terms of like the magic attack per cost, which obviously won't be much of an issue once you level up. But right now, I wouldn't pull on it for this because it's not a limited weapon. The ratios are pretty good. I think this one was a 2.3, a 2.4, somewhere around that general area. But like, it's not a guarantee. You know what I mean? So I would rather, if I'm going to pull on a banner for a magic weapon, I would rather pull on spec, which is coming in 2 days. That's my primary reason. Not because the weapon is bad per se. I mean, obviously, I wish it could have a slightly higher magic attack, but even then, it really just comes down to the fact that spec does come out in a couple days, and the spec banner does have 2 spears on it, likely. They could change that, but it does have 2 spears on it. So I would personally rather pull for 2 spears, or even 1 spear and a bow, just in case, because the new spec banner does have mechanical, at least in JP. So assuming it's mechanical and global as well, I do have mechanical MLB, so I would only need 1 of the spears and 1 of the bows. So if I'm going to be chasing a banner for magic attack weapons, it better be at least one that has multiple weapons that I need. You know what I mean? So in this case, it's pretty much I would be chasing this, and it has no guarantee. It's not a step up banner, and it's not a guaranteed SR or anything. So I would be pretty much doing the same shit that I did on the Red Riding Hood banner, and I'm gonna be honest, I think I learned my lesson on that one. I think I learned my lesson. I'm good, man. That was just really bad. So I'm gonna try my best to not do that again. Obviously, if you guys have more resources than I do, and you just want to pull anyways, this is a good weapon. It's just it comes down to prioritizing the spec banner, even though the spec banner is also not guaranteed, right? But it just has more weapons that I would rather have, especially now that I have a half nightmare bow grid, right? So I do actually need bows. I still only have like 10 elbows, so it's just a matter of prioritization. But this weapon is worth pulling if you happen to have more resources or you are a whale. Free to play wise, if you're free to play half nightmare, especially if you don't have mechanical spear done, even though of course again they might change that out to a different weapon, I still think that pulling on the spec banner would probably be a better idea. Anyways, we are going to be moving on to the next weapon, which is going to be a bow with mental focus 2, and obviously it's just a single target. It does have relatively high magic attack for a bow, or in general actually. 2368 is actually really high. I don't think that's number one, but that's still pretty good. I think that might just barely be tied or like slightly below Invader Gun. So, and Invader Gun was a free weapon obviously, but this is a mental focus 2 weapon. It is not DC, which is a bit unfortunate. So that is again why I prioritize the spec banner. Now that I think about it though, I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that the bow that comes on that banner that I'm talking about is DC. As a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and I don't know why I'm doing it like this. Let me just go ahead and take a look. Take an early look. Where is it? It is a DC bow, so they're all 3 DC weapons, so I might as well. Worst case scenario, if I get mechanical spears, I can just use it as like EXP fodder. And moving on to the final weapon, it is going to be a book. Reduce magic and physical attack 1.5 enemies with armor repair. Now, this is actually not that bad. I think this is actually a really good book. I'm actually kind of surprised that you guys are actually getting a good book. That's honestly the biggest surprise here. Stat wise, it's typical. Actually, slightly high. 6,700 is actually pretty good for an 18 cost. I think that might actually be one of the better books in terms of overall stats, at least right now. And armor repair is actually not that bad. It's not terrible. It's not support boon, but it's not awful. And honestly, at this point, when it comes to books, I think you guys probably have less focus on just having mad support boons right now and just having books with good skills. So yeah, 2 stat, 1.5 target, I think that's worth it. Also, this does kind of mean that it's not a big deal who the AoE hits, because it will still hit someone and it'll be relevant regardless. It also is tier 3, so I don't know the exact ratio because I don't feel like looking it up, but since it is tier 3, it's probably slightly higher ratio than typical tier 2s. So that means that it'll debuff more stats. I don't know what it will be, but it should be a pretty decent amount. Anyways, guys, that is going to be the end of this video. I do actually have to, yeah, I factory reset my computer, so I have to get some shit that I deleted. So maybe video releasing is going to be slowed down. Oh, that is an alarm. Anyways, for now though, I am out. Have a nice day.